academic.
can't have conversations.
Or was ever academic. You can't have conversations that have to do with faith or no, let's even leave faith. The concept of, let's say you are trying to be intellectual. Please, if you're on TikTok, please power tap. Oh. Please power tap on TikTok. Can you show an activity? No matter how you want to package it, the Lord is not Jehovah Yahweh. Just because you are repeating something again and again does not change anything. What characteristics does that one have? Where did you find, what is the source of your claim? That's how you have conversations, not just by repeating something again and again, no matter how you package it. This is why I said, you guys are trying with the things that I do every day. I see it on stream, like, how do you do this thing? Nobody quotes anything. Everybody's saying, this is what I believe. That's not what you believe. Then I say, I read your own book. That's what your own book says. You are lying. I'm not lying. You that are not lying. Where's your source? No. So, but you're doing the same thing here. No, I'm not. They asked me a question. Somebody said, they said Olodumare is not God. And I said, okay, based on the characteristics of Olodumare. So I asked, what are the characteristics of Olodumare? That's the only question I've asked. And nobody. So is not that, according to who? I'm not even here to say that is this or not that. I'm not saying is this, is that. I'm not making any, if you notice, I've not said anything like what I want to say, gong. I'm only asking that based on what you have said, they said, Kini, Ori Kilo Lori, what's the basis of that statement? So basis in yellow man, but hey, come over to I can't say if we let me worry. We can't, me, I cannot do not as a me. When you study some of these things, the things that you find, you will not want to say it. So we all know you are a pastor, so you need to keep your income. Okay, now at this point, I don't think you belong here. Let me just let you go. I don't have time for Iregbe. Did you see what just happened right now? We know you're a pastor, so you need to keep your income. That's not how to have intellectual conversation. I think you belong with those people always insulting themselves. That's low. That's actually retarded. You're having a conversation on this is why I say I don't talk to people.
What's your source? What's your this?
You're talking about point. What's your source? What's your this? The next thing is ad hominem. Oh, we know you need the money from Kinika. Let me mute you. This is not how to no. You guys have not studied your religion. You have spent more time studying the religion of others and how to attack them. You don't know your faith. The day you know your faith is that you find peace. E.g., when I sit down, and I have sat down, by the way, with Balawos. Babalawo.
I mean, they are not Christians.
There's this peace. I mean, they are not Christians. They are not Christians. But they know what they know. Even if I don't agree, I respect it. But a lot of you insult, this one that just insulted me right now, you don't know it. So when a person asks you a question about it, you insult the person. It shows lack of information. It's not about the person asking you, it's that you need time to study. You guys should spend more time studying than defending. And this goes to all religions. You study it, you know it. You use it, you work it. Knowledge is not even primarily to teach. You don't acquire knowledge because you want to teach it, because you want to defend something. That's not why you acquire knowledge. You acquire knowledge for your own self-edification, to know, to grow. Then from whatever it is that you have done, you can now share. And no matter what you share, like how much can I share? But you learn. But once you get to the point where you now want to talk, even if you don't agree, you can say this is. But so you guys just joke. That's the funny thing. There's no critical. There's no critique yet. I'm already hearing that. I'm trying to keep income. What a wonderful word. Most of us are indoctrinated into Christianity, assuming we had the same opportunity with Ifa. That's why I said I am not a Christian because I was indoctrinated into anything. I had to study philosophy, religion, and history to be able to come to terms with my faith. And that's why I said I thank God that I had that crisis. When was that? I think it was about 23, 25 years ago.
And I've had questions since I was a child.
That I didn't get answers to, that I had to discover myself. So once I got it, this is what I was going to say earlier before we had that YouTube issue. In the book of Acts, there's a story that Paul was walking, I think it was in Athens, and then he saw a shrine, and then they wrote on it, "To the unknown God." To the unknown God. This is where I'm going with all this Olodumare and God. When he saw it, he felt like these people have an idea of a supreme being, but they don't know him. You know what? So that I don't do what I said the other person did. Let me read that thing to you. I'm just answering a question, then we'll go back to what we're discussing. Meanwhile, the person I muted, I didn't block you, I just muted you for a while. When you have conversations with people, you've got to be able to, know the room. I mean, read the room. This is not Ijakati Center. This is, you have conversations. You can't jump from points to insult. It doesn't make you look good. So I was only trying to save you from yourself. 1 second. I want to find that scripture for you. I just want to make a point, and we'll move on to other things. Acts 17. Then Paul stood in the midst of the Areopagus and said, "Men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are very religious." See what he's saying? So you are very religious. For as I was passing through and considering the objects of your worship, I even found an altar with this inscription, "To the unknown God." Therefore, the one whom you worship without knowing, him I proclaim to you. The point is that the concept of a supreme being, of someone so powerful, even if, for instance, in Yoruba cosmology, God did not create the earth. Let me know change. I hope you guys know that God didn't create the earth in Yoruba cosmology, and He wasn't also the one who created human beings.
You have to understand that
in Yoruba cosmology. That's why you have to understand the faith. You can't say God created the heaven and earth and you believe in Yoruba traditional, religion. You would be wrong. The earth, that's the work of Oduduwa. Humans, that's the work of Obatala. How those things came about is not today's topic. But the point I'm trying to explain to you is that whether the God in this one did everything the God in this one did, everybody has a concept of this supreme deity. No matter what they call it. Guess what? In this case, they don't even have a name for it. They called it the unknown God. Is unknown. So people are saying it's Yahweh, it's not my. At least you have a name. This one, they don't even have a name at all. But what you find is that the fact that everybody knows that there's somebody out there that's bigger than all of us. Whether he now did everything ascribed to this one, that's another matter altogether. But as Yoruba people, right, I would advise that people actually spend time studying their own faith.
Olori, I disagree. It's not by Ifa as a religion.
People, Olori, I disagree. It's not by Ifa as a religion. No, I don't preach Ifa as a religion because I don't adhere to Ifa as a religion. And that's the issue. To the generality of the people, the concept of, I won't like to speak more of Oromila than Ifa because they spiritualize everything in there. The idea that Man, I don't know how to say it again. You know, I said earlier, when I studied that stuff from around the world and I saw all the names and I didn't see Orunmila there, I felt somehow.
You see Confucius,
But this is why it's not there. You see Confucius,
you see Ben,
you see Aristotle,
Russell,
you see Socrates, you see Bentham, one that's even black.
and when you consider, and by the way, again, please study.
And when you consider, and by the way, again, please study your faith.
People actually argue with me because
Oh my God. You know, people actually argue with me because they don't it is well.
you read
Study it.
his words.
You read his words. And you're like,
Like, this is native intelligence.
there's something here. Like, this is native intelligence. This is
Many of the things they're
good.
saying is based.
Then it looks so. Many of the things they're saying is based on observation. I'm not saying there's no supernatural bit to it or there's no religious aspect of it. I'm sure, of course, it exists. I mean, that's where you have sacrifice and all those, deep things. It exists, and I don't even care to talk about it because I'm not a Babalawo. But the intellectual part of it is what we studied, and I'm sorry for more than.
The point I'm trying to make.
No, let me leave the year because it's not necessary. But the point I'm trying to make is,
Right.
when you study for its own merits, right? Just like we studied other stuff, you're like, if it has been pushed like this, then this man will be
I mean, I don't know how to.
in this space where all these guys, I mean, I don't know how to explain, because you see all these people like,
I think
how come Orunmila is not here? I don't know. I think on Tamila are like, kí ló ń sọ, kí làwọn gbogbo àwọn eléyìí sọ tí Orunmila ò sọ,
you see the
right?
thread.
You can see it. You see the thread, and if you,
There are books.
yes, I don't. There are books on Ifa. There are books on all the Ojus. There are books, and when you take out time to read them,
You can understand why.
again from a philosophical standpoint, you can understand why our people lived the way they did, because a lot of the things that they were doing was based
Man
on.
moved around a lot.
And sometimes you hear him that the man moved around a lot.
If
Wasn't Ife,
you see him all around the kitty.
okay, Getty. Then you see him all around the kitty, in different parts of the kitty.
Over the place.
You see him in the college. You see him all over the place, observing, right things, saying things.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't.
They think, Jesus. I'm sorry, guys. I don't. Please, I don't think you understand what we are doing in Ancestors Advocates. You don't. Please, I apologize. I think maybe when we are talking about something else, you may want to come around. You can't fathom what I'm saying.
More than you have concerned you with.
Someone says you appreciate Christianity more than you understand Yoruba spirituality.
You are using two arguments.
You are using two arguments. Are you saying you can't say I appreciate one more than I understand one? Are you saying I understand one more than I understand the other, or I appreciate one more than I appreciate the other? You can't put two arguments in a sentence like that. It's conflicting. You can't say I appreciate more than I understand, and I appreciate one more than I understand the other. Go work. So you have to explain. And I hope. Don't worry. Everybody will be alright.
We're trying to explain it. Please try quickly do it so I can.
We're trying to explain it. Please try quickly do it so I can answer. Like, I want to get back to the books. So you have to. No, you don't have to type more. You just have to be clearer. You can't say you appreciate A more than you understand B. You can say you appreciate A more than you understand B, or you can say you appreciate A more than you appreciate B, or you understand A more than you understand B. But you cannot say you appreciate A more than you understand B. His false equivalence, like Ojora. Anyway, I respect everyone, but it is well.
As far as religion is concerned, again,
And this platform is, as far as religion is concerned, again, proudly so, I'm a Christian, 100%, 1000% Christian. But as a Yoruba person, the concept of philosophy needs to be understood just like Greek philosophy or Chinese philosophy. And if we don't do that, we are going to cage it. It's been caged for years, by the way. And it's a shame. It's caged. So I hope you are getting paid for your time and effort. Lot of headache. Don't worry, you will pay me.
I was asking a question and then it just went off.
You will pay me.
Anyway, the point is that definitely
How did you get here, Torolo? I was asking a question and then we just went off.
about what happened in the
Anyway, the point is that
and how
I'm definitely off, so I have to get back to where we're going.
I was not going to
Yeah, I was talking about what happened in the earlier years and how people attack the faith. Yes, I was not going to explain why they attack the faith. Now, if you hear that, oh, the maltuition, yes, I have the book, I've read it, fantastic book. Oh, they attacked the Christians. Oh, that's because they were trying to protect their faith. That's not really what happened. Let me read you what happened. This is from a traditional religion, by the way. Don't beg me, I'll just mute him. I don't block Sha because, I will mute the person. I think it's better than... If I really want to discuss religion, you think I'll be doing like this?
This is from
Don't mind the people saying what they're saying in the comment section. Everybody will be fine. All right, let me read to you. This is from Ife Shrines by Chief Fabumi. Chief Fabumi himself is a traditional religious person, so please take a listen to this. After the death of that Oni, the Ife people renounced Christianity, saying that, listen, the religion did not help them in their divination. The religion did not help in their divination. It wasn't so much about, let me tell you the truth, generality of people, even right now, even in this room, even right now, with all of us in this place right now, majority of us do not understand our faith. It's a fact. You can be passionate, you can be emotional, you can fight or kill or get angry, but most of us do not understand our faith. Most of us do what we do based on what we are told.
It's not about the people revolting really.
The idea that you find here is it is not about the people revolting really, but about a group whose influence was diminishing. Why? Because divination gives you influence. If you're able to know tomorrow, people will come to you.
This is not good, bad.
You're able to help. And by the way, I'm not saying it is bad. Again, this is not good. By the way, this is not good, bad. You can't die, you can't die. That's not the kind of conversation I'm having here. Oh, please, so. And I'm not saying please because I'm afraid. I'm saying please because I want us to understand. It's about like when you have a set of people, right? They are the ones who you consult them. Interestingly, we have moved this also into Christianity and even Islam. Right, we have also moved the same thing where we say you have to go and consult. I don't remember and all of those things. So according to them, those who were in charge of divination, the influence was winning. Therefore, they got the people. So it's more about influence. It's not about economics than it's about faith. And it's the same thing you find all over the world today. How many wars are they fighting right now in the name of God? What I'm saying, we have religious tolerance in Yorubaland today, and by the grace of God, whether Olodumare or whichever one you believe in, that religious tolerance will always be here, Lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ṣùgbọ́n, we have had a time as well, and this is for between Yoruba and Christianity, between Ẹ̀sìn and Christianity, Ẹ̀sìn and Islam, but we evolved. The issue is not that it happened like, oh, I not the no, is that we evolved past that thing. And the idea basically is that just like people fight for their faith, the people back in the day in my hometown in Ife also thought they were fighting for their faith, but they were not fighting for their faith, they were fighting for another group's influence. It was about influence, it was about power, it was about economics. And if you have a new faith where people don't really care for divination that much, your influence will wane. Which was all led to what happened. You know, I happened on some conversation, someone say, it's only our religion that has never fought for anything about God. I just laugh. I just laugh. It is not about, one of the things I love about Yoruba, about being Yoruba, is that it's not that we have not made the mistakes that others have made. It is that we have corrected it and evolved. That's where the flex is. Not that we never did some things. We did some horrible things because we are humans. Every human culture did horrible things. It's part of evolution. But we evolved out of those things. That's the flex.
Burnt their buildings.
So, Elebanzin
All of those things.
attacked people,
Why?
burnt their building, burnt all the books, all of those things.
Taught them to
Why? Not because
according to
the faith taught them to do so,
the religion,
but because, according to, I'll read it from the other book as well, because the religion, the Christianity religion, did not help them in their divination.
people are being used in the name of whatever God. It could be the name of a God.
And I see a lot of things happening these days as well. People are being used in the name of whatever God. It could be the name of a God or the name of your traditional whatever. They just people weaponize. And it's in every religion. See,
Used like that.
it's not even just in religion. It's in every ideology. Every ideology is susceptible to be used like that.
Ideology can be weaponized.
In America, you see it with the woke group, with the woke crew, and with the far right. Any ideology can be weaponized. You just go off. The real reason you are fighting, you don't know.
Because see, when you hurt people,
And when the dust settles, you just call that you have hurt yourself.
so that was the reason this
Because see, when you hurt people, you hurt yourself too.
certain people wanted to weaponize.
So that was the reason this happened. It happened because certain people wanted to weaponize people's angst, you know, because their own
Also, there are many
influence was waning.
things like that.
Also, there are many books, and the books were burnt and buried and things like that. And they took a vow never to have Christianity again.
Church was
But however, around 1899 thereabout, a church was completed in I'll check in Ife. So there's a church standing. I mean, of course, there are many churches in Ife today. All right. I want to read something to you about Yekere. Ile. I can sort of family one be. The Yekere. I miss. Don't worry, I just had an episode. Just remember something. Yekere is actually very, very important to me. Anyway, in 1899, I'm going to read from the same book by Chief Abumi.
the first Anglican church was built in 1899 when Christianity
Yeah,
was
it says the first Anglican church was built in 1899 when Christianity was reintroduced into Ife City for the third time.
and from this humble building, which was
And the church was only 25 by 15.
up for many
And from this humble building, which was also used as a school, have sprung up the many primary and secondary schools and colleges together with the University of Ife, of which Ife is today. How do I do this? Okay, let me go out and come back. What about the one close to lower? I don't know, what's lower Ake?
No. That's the first church.
No, are you talking about Abeokuta? No. That's the first church, in Yorubaland. This one is talking about the first church in Ile-Ife. I think, because I can see Ake, so I'm going to assume you're trying to talk about Abeokuta. No, that's the first church in the land. I'm just talking about the city, not the Yorubaland. Number, Jen, sorry, one got to work cafe. I want to talk about when David Hindra brought it back. Close to Ilode, I don't know. I don't know. Me more, but not calling. Let's quickly visit the book by Professor Banji Akintoye. Glory to glory to glory.
By the time missionaries came in the mid-19th century,
By the time missionaries came in the mid-19th century, the Ife people had evolved.
to the point where when they were speaking to the
So they had about 300 to 400 years. They had evolved to the point where when they were speaking to David Hindra and was telling them about Jesus Christ, they told them that, listen, this religion you're bringing is just one of the religions that originally went out of Ile-Ife and now have brought it back to us. I'm going to read something to you from the book by Professor Banji Akintoye. In fact, I think I should go back just a bit. It takes a while to open this thing, so. When David Hindera preached the Christian message for the first time to an audience in the Onis Palace in Ife, the chiefs welcomed him warmly, but assured him that Ife was the spring head of all religion, and that what he had preached to them was in effect nothing new. In the early days of the mission in Abeokuta, some native converts were arrested by the chiefs for some unacceptable behavior. Okay, let's just stay with Ife for now. Go to Abeokuta later. The point I'm trying to make here is that when David Hindera preached the Christian message for the first time to an audience in Onis Palace in Ife, the chiefs welcomed him warmly, but assured him that Ife was the spring head of all religion, and that what he had preached to them was in effect nothing new. In other words, they had evolved to the point where you can say stuff and they'll be like, okay, makes sense, you know. They even told him that his ancestors were created in Ife. That was from Ife that the entire world, that people spread and fill the entire world, or fill the entire earth. That's the mindset of Ife. But let me read to you what happened to him in his work in Ile-Ife. This book is called Mbo. It's called City of 201 Gods, Ile-Ife in Time and Space by Olukbono. Hindera called Ife the seat of all Yoruba. I'll take that again. Hindera called Ife the seat of all Yoruba idolatry and the origin of all creation. At the time in 1875, Hindera was paying his second visit to Ile-Ife, which was in ruins as a result of the Yoruba Civil War and Ife's quarrel with the Modakeke people, whom he later called Ife slaves and neighbors. Hindera asserted that the Christian missionary post established earlier in Ile-Ife had been a total failure, even though a Sierra Leonean missionary named Thomas had been stationed there, because of the people's continuous involvement in traditional Orisha practices. Hindera stated in his report, things went well for a while until the faithful man Thomas would no longer bear the continued human sacrifices, which the king had promised to stop. His remark indicates how strongly the people of Ife were attached to traditional beliefs and practices. Essentially, what he's saying basically is that was the second time that Christianity was tried out in Ile-Ife. But by the third time, in 1899, a church was established. All of this was just to say what happened before the 1800s. What time do we have? Okay. I think now I should bring people up. I wanted to go on to the next part, which has to do with how the African church was created, the politics of the church, and how Ajayi Crowther was slighted in the Anglican church, and how that and other things led to the split and the eventual creation of African church in 1901. And then let me just say what we're going to be talking about. We'll talk about that, which is also a product of Yoruba people trying to assert their cultural independence from Britain and saying we can be Christian and Yoruba. How did they do that? And by the way, if you're a Christian and you're Yoruba, you will really need to be here for that, because it's important to teach ourselves how to be proud of our ethnic identity while still holding on to our faith. And that there is no faith in all that we do in Yorubaland that was designed. I'll say it again. There is no religion, deity, God, whatever, that was designed in such a way that Tobati Mudanio somehow it will affect your concept of. I don't want you to tell me now I'm talking. You don't see. You're not here to type. You're not here to type. You're here to listen. Ancestors advocates. You don't understand what I'm saying. If you think what I'm saying is good and you're saying it very well, don't worry. You soon curse me again. Don't worry, but don't praise me. You don't understand. You don't understand what I'm saying. Olongo, you don't get it. So don't type. Just listen, if you can. Thank you. What was I saying? The idea where this stuff is going. I mean, what I want to do with the series really, when we get to the point where we're talking about how Christianity was effectively domesticated in Yorubaland, then you will see the beauty of what the elders have done, which is why, personally, I feel, I'm going to tell you this for the first time, I feel irritated when I hear foreign religion. Because the person saying it does not know the work that has been done in the last 150 years, especially in the last 150 years. The kind of work beginning in the mid 19th century, by people like Ajay and the rest of them, all the way to the founding of the African Church in 1901, all the way to the creation of the Aladura movement and CNS in the 1920s, 1925. It's 100 years this year. If you understand the journey and what those people have done and how they Yorubanized Christianity, you may not agree with what they are doing, but you never use the argument that it's foreign, because it reduces the argument to something pedestrian. Our fathers have done a fantastic. By the way, and we're going to do this next time we come around. The nationalism of Nigeria is a direct, not it's a direct product of Yoruba Christians rising against the idea of being British just because they were Christians. That cultural independence led to all the movements, all of them. And that's why you discover that the person who started the very first political party in Nigeria was a grandson of one of the major indigenous missionary, Samuel Crowther. His son, Abat Macaulay, started NNDP in 1923. 2 years later, another man from Ikale is establishing CNS in the same Lagos. The work of people like Henry Carr, the work of people like Mojolag Baby, how they were able to extol and essentially, what's the word? Bask in their Yorubaness and Christianity is what this whole thing is actually about. I'm just setting the stage with what 15th, 16th century. Succeed. But to succeed, it wasn't just because of the Oyinbo. As a matter of fact, the first people that actually got Christianity, they were the returnees. I'll talk more about this on Friday. The truth is this. Some people have said, oh, because they were used by the Oyinbo. It's not that. Listen, if you were taken as slaves, I'm going to repeat what I'm saying on Friday. If you were taken as slaves by people and you were sold, and the Portuguese were trying to get you to Brazil, and you're on the high sea, and the Portuguese were trying to get you to Brazil, another country in Western Europe had outlawed and abolished slavery, and then they come with their warships and double cross the Portuguese and say, no, you're not going to sell these people. Then they take those people and settle them in Freetown in Sierra Leone. Would you not want to know the kind of God in the heart of this? I mean, both of them are white, by the way. The Portuguese is white, the English is white. So it's not about race. Would you not want to know what made this one abolish slavery to the point where he is saving you? And would you not think that that person's God probably has something to do with your salvation? Why did they return to Nigeria? We have questions on that. Why did they return to Nigeria? The Saro guys. Why did they return to Nigeria? When they returned to Nigeria, what was their intention with Christianity? How did that help in forming schools? Now, I've heard different people say things like, oh, missionaries did this something, they used schools to kinikon. What happened in some parts of Africa is not everything that happened in other parts of Africa that happened in Yorubaland. It was not always sweet, but it's not the same. So we're going to discuss all of those things and how it has actually given us advantage. The reason we have this conversation, I mean, with all due respect to other groups across Africa, especially across Nigeria, the reason we're always having these sessions every day, and people like Kinon Shembe, and you see people come and insult, and say all kinds of things, and we're talking about books, and that reason is also connected to those people that returned in the 1800s. The reason we're always saying what's in the book, how do we compare it, that educational whatever that we have is because of those people. and it's important to acknowledge it. And then we're going to draw a parallel line from that up until what we're doing today. It's going to take us a while, but we're going to enjoy it. And hopefully, we won't have questions that have to do with other religions, because this is not about a religion versus one religion versus another religion. That's not the concept. It's about the evolution of Christianity in Yorubaland. So if your idea is to bash Christians or to talk about which one is better, this is not the forum for it. And I will say this every time. I will still say it. I am not in the business of having apologetics on Christianity with traditional religious worshippers or Muslims on social media. Because if I ask questions about your faith, you will curse me. And the reason is because you have not studied it. I'm not saying I know everything, but brothers and sisters, I've been doing this for a while. It's been more than 20 years. So it's not me that will now come on TikTok and I will say, can you call my, if you are King, you're supposed to be a pastor, you want to do income. And really cooking. And what I do is this, and I already mentioned, those who know me about traditional religion, or if I know this, I acknowledge certain people. I hold them in very high esteem. I don't believe everything they say, because of course I'm a Christian, but I hold people like Professor Wande Abimbola and Baba Ifeanyi. I have tons of their books in the library. I've given their books as gifts. I study this, man. These are fantastic minds. This is about academics. This is about a conda. I know whom I believe. This is the path I've chosen. And these sessions that we're having is about the evolution of Christianity in Yorubaland, not that let us look at the merit and demerit of one and the other. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that to somebody that actually knows. If you are quoting something from your text, you tell me exactly the Odu that said it. If it's Islam, you tell me the surah. If it's Christianity, you tell me the book and chapter. Until we get there, let's just be having conversations and learn together. May God bless you. Let's bring 3 people up. I'll have your responses, and then we'll close the session for today. Thank you very much for listening. Essentially, was what we did last time, but I need to say it again because I think that repetition is a lot of long and lasting impression. We need to understand that and then we can now grow on those things. Thank you very much. Tim Mustafa, thank you for your kind words. I'll bring people up now. Again, if you are coming up, please, if you want to ask questions about something, you can ask. But it's not a religious apologetic debate. Remember, let me see. Okay. Babati. Okay. And Ara01. Okay. Theophila is nice, by the way. Thank you. Grok, you're a bad person. I can see in the comment section that you're even bad. Because the way you're even writing the comment section. All right. I have to change the audio source. Please mute as soon as you get up, please. Thank you, Preacher's Day. Thank you. A Preacher's Boy, then. Religion versus religion. We are talking about evolution of Christianity in Yorubaland and what happened all those years ago. Let's try and make it. Please mute. Please mute. Please mute. Let's try and speak about things in that space. It's not like if you speak about the other thing, I cannot answer. I can answer, but I notice that people will not like the answers I give, even if the answer is rooted in, and of course, it will be rooted in research. But let's just stick to. Babati, you are going to be the first person. Ekroleo. Mi ò gbọ́ yín o. I think your network is bad. Mo ń gbọ́ ẹ̀ ló sàmì, mo ń gbọ́ yín bọ̀ ó ń lọ ó ń bọ̀ ni. Bóyá network ọ̀dọ̀ yín ni. Ẹkáàbọ sọ́dọ̀ Remi, Mr. Remi. No. Mr. Remi, ṣé ń gbọ́ mi?
Hello, sir.
Happy New Year, sir.
New Year, no. Sir. Just one question. Me,
Yes,
I'm a atheist, like atheist, you know. So, but one thing that really like make me come up now, like you said, like you saw this film Kunta Kinte, and like you were going through some kind of like dilemma at one point in time in your religious life. So for me as personally, I don't know, like, explain to me like how you could now align all you saw, and you're a very learned person, and all that happened with true religion, through this Abrahamic religion, to the black race in part. How could you now, like, I cannot fathom it, like, probably because I don't have this sense of forgiveness. You know me, you know the way I am. So, like, I'm trying to, like, how could you, like, after all said and done and read, and you could still say yes, you could still find faith and accept faith in these Abrahamic religions? That's just what I just want to understand that, because me, like, I can't wrap it around my head. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So number one, so number one, to be honest, right, I'm very careful with the idea of Abrahamic religion, because they are not the same. The only thing that connects them is the fact that the leaders of the three faiths have one distant ancestor. They are not the same. So Christianity is not even the same thing as Judaism, let alone Islam. So I'm very careful with Abrahamic. So let's just stick to my faith, Christianity. So how did I reconcile that? And I think it's a very, very good question. So let's start with the idea. Okay, so what caused my own issue was slavery. I was studying slavery, and I felt the pain because I was actually literally holding the pictures in newspaper clippings of the night of the century. One time I called like 2 pence. They wrote the amount. Like, it was very gory.
If you hear the word slavery, and the only thing you think about, or the first
If you hear the word slavery, and the only thing you think about, or the first thing you think about, is what happened in America, you have not studied slavery. Slavery is not synonymous with America. It's a very ancient institution that has existed in different cultures across the earth. It just so happens that the one that happened between, the transatlantic slavery was documented. That documentation is what riled me up. And it didn't happen. By the way, the problem I had was that because we were black and these ones were white, it didn't happen because we were black and they were white. It was about power. For instance, for 400 years, the Ottoman Empire was enslaving the Slavs in Eastern Europe. It's so bad, it was so bad, that we now have a word called slave only because the people were Slavs. The etymology of the word slave is an ethnicity. We have something similar in some parts of Nigeria, but we're not talking about that today. The etymology of the word slave is Slav. They were taken as slaves for 400 years and they were white.
It's about power.
It is not about color, it's about power. And the reason the Europeans also were taken as slaves,
because they had more power.
and the reason they did that to us was because they had more power. And for 700 years, the Moors from Africa colonized Spain.
Think about it.
It wasn't about color, it was about power. The Moors, think about it. I say it in passing, but let's think about it though. 700 years. The Moors colonized Spain. Not 7 years, not 70, not 700. In other words, you cannot find a person who lived, who saw the beginning and saw the end. It was about power play. And that power play is what you notice in different parts of the world. You know, I was having a conversation the other day about slavery, and I said the reason slavery is so bad in America, right, is look at Japan. In every culture of this world, well, let me put it this way.
In most cultures of the world,
let me find a way to say it.
the enslaved.
Okay, let me say it this way. In most cultures of the world, the enslaved usually looks like the person who enslaved them.
In Yoruba culture, for instance, we had slaves.
Not all, in most. So that in Yoruba culture, for instance, we had slaves.
But they were like us.
Not indentured servants. We had indentured servants, but we had slaves. But they were like us. And our society allows for upward mobility, which is a mistake that America made forever. There's no. It took them a while, and I'll tell them why. I'll tell you why it took them a while. I guess, in my own opinion.
Who got to Japan as slaves?
If you go to Japan, for instance, there are folks from Korea who got to Japan as slaves. You don't know the difference because they, quote unquote, with all due respect to East Asians or Asians, they look alike. But a lot of people were taken as slaves from Korea to Japan. But we don't see that stuff because much of what happened in North Africa, by the way, trans-Saharan slave trade, I can't say it was worse than transatlantic, but it was terrible. And a day is coming, when people will actually scrutinize the trans-Saharan slave trade like we have scrutinized this transatlantic slave trade. And what you find is this, and this is what I think. I think the reason we talk about transatlantic slave trade so much is because they have made themselves the arbiter of all things good and bad. Like they are the moral police of the world. So people are literally just holding the mirror to their faces and say, look at yourself, see what you have done. But if you switch that skinny to Saudi Arabia, oh terrible, people were castrated.
As close to us as Hausa.
Folks were taken from as close to us as Hausa land, taken as slaves all the way to the Arabs. And I'm not comparing Walao, I'm not comparing evil, I'm going somewhere with this. And then they will castrate the men, sleep with the women. You have all these people in North Africa whose color is the way it is right now, who essentially, you know,
The point I'm trying to make is that
color and change. The point I'm trying to make is that one thing that helped me to come to terms with slavery in Europe is the idea of slavery itself. It was not black and white. It's not about race, it's about power. So you have the Ottoman enslaving the Slavs. For centuries, the Ottomans were not white. The Slavs were white. You had folks in North Africa raiding Mediterranean, cutting away whatever from white people who also enslaved. There's a book. It's about white slavery. Maybe if I have the time, we'll talk about it. The point I'm trying to make is that it was all over the world. Black enslaved black, black enslaved white, white enslaved white, white enslaved white, black. And for instance, another example, Rome was an empire. Who were the slaves in Rome? The Gauls were slaves in Rome, and the Gauls are the people that you now call French. The Germans were slaves in Rome. You call them barbarians now. We call them, they call them barbarians. Germans.
And the Romans, who are the Romans?
The Britons were also taken as slaves. And the Romans, who are the Romans today? Italians.
And that's why you also see what English did to Ireland.
It's about power. They had no power. And that's why you also see what English did to Ireland, or what England did to Ireland when they had power. And how they demeaned the folks, the Irish folks. Even in America, they still did to them. I talked about it the other day where you see the sign, no dogs, no Jews, no blacks, no Irish. But they were also white. The point I'm trying to make is that the idea of slavery is human and not necessarily racial. And that the what fueled it was more power than ethnicity or race. And that what they did to themselves, they only just did to us because they now had power. The England that came to colonize us and sell slaves, and also their own people were also sold as slaves by Romans. It's like a cycle. It's a terrible cycle. By the way, we also did it. I mean, you enslaved people in Dahomey because they had power, and they didn't have power. I'm not saying this to say that slavery is a very good, nice thing. That's not the point. I'm just saying that it's... Be careful not to look at world history through the prism of America. It's a very dark-colored, murky, whatever. They're always saying things from black, white, black, white. Everything they're talking about is black, white, black, white. It's not always about color. Okay? However, I think one of the major issues that America had was that the enslaved did not look any way like those who enslaved them. So like what you have in Nigeria and Yorubaland, where the Daomians, for instance, who were enslaved, by the way, by the Oyo, and it happened among different ethnic groups in Yoruba, in Nigeria, present in Nigeria, by the way, we look alike. Or you go to Japan, the Koreans that were enslaved by the Japanese, they look alike. But you go to America, you see the people that were enslaved, they don't look like the ones who enslaved them. So it's very difficult for them to even integrate. You can have mental integration, but you can still see that. But all those things, I don't see color. I'm colorblind.
So how did I resolve that? So number one,
In Jesus' name, amen. But you get the point. So how did I resolve that? So number one, I discovered that slavery was universal. Number two, what was the place of Christianity in slavery? Now, I studied scholars who used Christianity. Someone says, sir, China has not forgotten what Japan did. Nor would they ever forget. Japan offered China Rimabo. They took slaves from China as well. The Japanese, as small as that country is compared to China.
they remember
It's power.
not like
And China still remembers, of course. They remember,
get the point.
not like, I'll never forgive you, but they say, I will never forgive you, Sharp. You get the point. The point more is like, it will never happen again. And if it ever happens, it will not happen to me. It can happen from me to you, but never from you to me. So it's true. You are right, sir. I was saying something.
the role of Christianity is slavery. Now, when they started it, it was just the way
The role of Christianity is slavery. Now,
there were
when they started it, it was just the way they started it. However, there were ministers who tried to explain away slavery by using scriptures.
was unique.
But to be very clear, the concept of slavery was is still there, universal. People do it because of where they are from. It wasn't a Christian thing or a Muslim thing, or it was just people thing. But some people now weaponize religion to do it. And the group that weaponize religion the most are actually in the Arab world. That's the truth. As bad as certain people use Christianity to push slavery and say, oh, these people are Hamitic, they are cursed, which is a lie, by the way. It's not in the Bible. They just lied, which is why I like Christianity. So it's one thing to take a scripture and intentionally manipulate it to mean something. It's another thing for me to look at that text, and if he says that thing, then I'll have a different understanding. I'll give you a very quick answer. Sorry, quick example. If you read Genesis chapter 9, it talks about the children of Noah, Shem, Ham, Japheth. I talked about it the other day. Ham sees his father's nakedness after he drank, and then some biblical scholars said Noah cursed Ham. If you read Genesis chapter 9, Noah, and chapter 10, Noah never cursed Ham. Noah cursed Canaan, one of the 4 children of Ham. Ham had 4 children: Cush, Mizraim, Put, Canaan. Canaan was the one that Israel eventually went to fight and took over their land, aka Promised Land. Which means that they intentionally misinterpreted that scripture in order to push an agenda. But years later, there was a man called William Wilberforce. There was a group called the Clapham sect. They spent time, years, in Parliament pushing for the abolition of slave trade, of slavery. Now, different people can say different things about it, like, oh, it was because the Industrial Revolution had come. Whatever happened, although there was Industrial Revolution, Portugal was still involved in slavery. So the Christianity of William Wilberforce and of the Clapham sect, many of them were very influential, supporting financially to ensure that they could abolish slavery. Whatever conscience made them, gripped them, and made them do that thing was based on that same Christian faith. My question is this: all the religions on earth, how come none of them ever thought of abolishing slavery?
People can misuse religion, many people misuse religion.
Which tells you, if people can misuse religion, and many people misuse religion, and one person used religion to abolish slavery, regardless of the circumstances of that time, I want to understand why they did what they did. And it has something to do with the same faith. Lastly, but this is long, but I'm just going to quickly say this one. I don't even know if it's lastly, because I see another question in the comment section. Thinkers, I'm going to answer your question. Studying different religions in school,
There's still this thing where
and even after school, after all these years, there's still this thing where every faith is trying to reach out to God. God is this inaccessible being just somewhere far away, and they're trying to reach him. Christianity is the only one that I have found where God is trying to reach man, to the point where there was a place of sacrifice. Okay. Someone says religion did not invent compassion, but that's not the point. As far as abolition of slavery is concerned, the people that did it were Christians. Why did other people not do it?
So, I can't say because of slavery.
That's the question.
In the beginning, I was like, I worked with that.
So I can't say because of slavery I can't be Christian. In the beginning, I was like, I watched Kota Kinte, blacks and white, and God, I wasn't about race. The more I studied, I had to spend time studying slavery. And slavery is a terrible thing, but it was about power. People would do it to their brothers, and we did it to our own brothers as well, just like whites did it to whites. Blacks did it to blacks, blacks to white, white to black. It's about power. That's it.
Maybe one day I'll do it.
And by the way, this in America that they always shouting, maybe one day I'll do it. Some of the slave owners in America were blacks.
Curse me out, say it's a lie.
I said it to one American one day, went to curse me out, say it's a lie. Because they, as far as they are concerned, blacks could never own slaves. Blacks own slaves in America, especially in Louisiana, all those French areas. So it was not about color, it was about just power, and the other person said economics. Yes. So let me answer the other question that I think I said. He said, let me see, he said, Paul did not condemn slavery and Jesus walked among slaves too. No single condemnation. You know, we judge the past sometimes based on our present realities, and it's not fair to us because it doesn't help us to appreciate the situation at the time. When you said Paul did not say clinical to slavery, what was the case? The case is actually not that hard. There was a man named Onesimus who ran away from his owner and ran to Paul. His owner is called Philemon. And Paul writes a letter, gives it to Onesimus, and tells him to give it to Philemon. And he asks him, you know what? Since we are talking about Paul, I did not answer Mr. Remy guy. I thought I muted you. I didn't know you could still type. Mr. Remy guy, did I answer you? So that's how I understood.
You've answered me. Thank you so much. Thank you,
sir. Somebody in the comments said I have not answered you. I have not answered. The idea is, if these people enslaved these people and you saw it and it affected your faith, how come you still chose that faith? If the whites enslaved blacks and I saw the pictures and it got me questioning my faith, which was introduced by whites, how come I now still subscribe to Christianity, seeing that the whites enslaved the blacks? And I said the answer lies in the history of slavery itself. It's not, they didn't enslave them because they were black, they enslaved them because they were less powerful. When Oyo was enslaving people in Dahomey, was it because they were white or green or yellow? It wasn't about color, it was about power. And it was bad. I'm not saying it's good. The Chinese did it, the Vikings did it, the Japanese, everybody did it. And it's not right. But the same faith that people like to criticize is the only one that abolished it. And I wonder, why was that one that abolished it? What were the others doing? They are still selling slaves in Libya today. They are still selling slaves today. How come is this bad religion that told people to stop, to the point where they were storing people on the... And I know there's an economic angle to it, there's a political angle to it, but the point is that certain people actually dedicated years of their lives pushing a bill in the parliament. And if you, again, the name, William Wilberforce, but you know what? You must have heard that name before. The group that you may not have heard before that I think people should actually study is Clapham sect. CLAPHAM sect. Those people, one hour for years. So it's important to also acknowledge what they did. And I'm not shying away from the fact that people did what they did. But there are non-African kings that wanted to stop slavery and they were not Christians. Are you joking? Are you joking? They wanted to. Everybody knows. Almost doesn't count. I almost stopped it. Who sang that song? This fine girl. What's her name? Starts with a T or something. It says no longer a religious motive because Islam didn't encourage slavery. I mean, I don't even want to go into that. You know, I'm running away from that thing. What's not that lady? Talo Morning to Korean. Everybody knows almost doesn't count. Oh, could you can say Omara? Let me read to you what Brandy. Thank you. Your morning. Let me to you what. Sorry, I'm reading. Somebody said Paul. So let's read what the letter Paul wrote. People like said at church you come to today. We're gonna know about our work today. Philemon, Hebrews, James. So where's Philemon?
So I already mentioned that Onesimus had run away.
All right. So I already mentioned that Onesimus had run away. He was a slave. He ran away. Let me read to you something. I'm going to read the letter, but I want to read some notes that I have here. Under Roman law, back in the day.
Under Roman law, a slave who ran away.
No, they were all in Roman Empire. Under Roman law, a slave who ran away from his master could face the death penalty. In spite of this possibility, the Apostle Paul sent Onesimus, a runaway slave and a recent convert to Christianity, back to his owner, Philemon, to make restitution. Now, why did he do that? Let's read. Number one, understand the fact that Christians did not make the laws. They lived within a society that had its own laws. Therefore, this is not about Christian law. This is about how they moved in that society. Paul says, Paul, the prisoner of Christ Jesus, and Timothy, our brother, to Philemon, our beloved friend and fellow laborer, the beloved Aphia, Archippus, so on and so forth. I thank my God. I want to jump because of time. I thank my God. Grace to you and peace from God, our Father, and the Lord Jesus Christ. I thank my God, making mention of you always in prayers, hearing of your love and faith with which you have toward the Lord Jesus and toward all the saints. At the sharing of your faith, let's just jump to where he was talking about the issue of verse 8. Therefore, though I might be very bold in Christ to command you what is fitting, yet for love's sake, I rather appeal to you, being such a one as Paul the aged, and now also a prisoner of Jesus Christ. I appeal to you for my son Onesimus, whom I have begotten while in my chains, who once was unprofitable to you, but now is profitable to you and to me. This is Paul writing a letter to the owner of the slave who ran away, and he calls the slave his son, whom he bore in chains. He was in prison. Paul was in prison. So he says he bore him in chains. I am sending him back to you. So I'm sending him back. You therefore receive him. That is my own heart, whom I wished to keep with me, that on your behalf he might minister to me in my chains for the gospel. In other words, Paul is saying that I wish he could stay with me. I would rather have him stay here. But without your consent, I wanted to do nothing that your good deed might not be by compulsion, as it were, but voluntary. For perhaps he departed for a while for this purpose, that you might receive him forever, no longer as a slave, but more than a slave, a beloved brother, especially to me, but how much more to you, both in the flesh and in the Lord. There is no place in Roman history where a freeborn is calling a slave his brother. That's what Christianity could do and did in Roman Empire. They could not change this. By the way, what are we talking about? Christianity was what's the word I want to use? It was on the fringes. Had no real power, but within themselves. Galatians chapter 3, Paul said there is neither Jew nor Greek, neither slave nor free. In other words, we are all brothers in Christ. Paul is saying that your status in society doesn't matter. Paul could not change what slavery was. It's like me blaming you right now, thinker, and saying that you are in Nigeria, yet Boko Haram is dealing with them. How come you haven't done anything about it? It's not your duty. You can't even do anything about it. It wasn't, and Christianity was not Christianity. It was just a small sect in the corner of the empire, gradually growing. So the thing they did was to create something amongst themselves where you could see this person and not just see a slave. You could see a human being to the point where you call him, he said, I want you to receive him forever, no longer as a slave, but more than a slave, a beloved brother, especially to me, but how much more to you, both in the flesh and in the Lord.
Slavery is not an immorality.
Someone says, yes, Paul explains so. Slavery is not an immorality. You guys, what's this? You know what? I thought we were going somewhere, but you're not ready. How is slavery an immorality?
So, let me just say something.
How do you people? Okay, so let me even say something I should say this. I think I need to say this. In ancient times, there were no machines. Who do you think was doing the work that machines eventually came to do? Humans. And you need a lot of humans to do stuff. And if one was less powerful, that was what you used. It's the culture of the world. It was how people built. What you can do as a person in the faith is say, you're going to treat this person as a brother. You don't just treat them anyhow. That is more than enough in that culture. Telling them that I should have abolished it and spoken against it. Spoken against for what?
Okay, yes.
The treatment in slavery is immorality. Okay.
Saying treat him as a brother.
Okay, yes. He's saying treat him as a brother. If he's your brother. If he's saying, see what he said though. He said, especially to me, but how much to you, both in the flesh and in the Lord. In other words, sorry guys. I thought you were a human being. You're a very stupid person. Advanced ancestors advocate. You're very stupid. I'm not a Muslim. So what you're saying doesn't even make sense. You're saying my prophet slept with them. Are you stupid? No, you are stupid. Is this how you're going to insult people and insult the prophets and let them come and embrace your spirituality? Just go everywhere constituting nuisance. You're stupid.
What if I was a Muslim? So you now say, oh, your prophet slept with your neighbor.
Number one, I'm not a Muslim. What if I was a Muslim? So you now say, oh, your prophet slept with your neighbor. So your prophet slept with the slaves. Let's even assume I'm a Muslim. How does that statement help the conversation? You are unable to think.
If you notice, I'm saying on Paul.
And that's the funny thing. If you notice, I'm saying on Paul. I'm not going to tell you. When I was talking about the Arabs, and did you notice what I said? I said the Arabs. I didn't say Muslims. I could. And I can tell you what the Quran says about it, but that's not today's topic, and that's not what I want to do. And our own traditional religion, I can tell you what it says about slavery as well. Don't joke, don't kid yourself that we had something super, where everybody was just perfect. Oh, our traditional religion was just like, every slave is perfect. No. I'll tell you this. No, I can't tell you this because I don't want to do any comparison. Let's say the question, but you are stupid to advocate. Tell your folks at home. They didn't raise you properly at all. They're a waste. May God save your life. Where was I? The idea of slavery, loss of freedom and stuff. You know, in Roman Empire, it was even funny. Some of the slaves were doctors. Some of the slaves were scholars. So some of them would work for. I'm not even talking about the culture. I'm saying as a Christian, the best Paul could do was to give them like
This person is a Christian.
rule of engagement. This person is a Christian. You are a Christian. Treat them like a brother in the flesh and in the Lord. It means that treat them the way you would treat your biological brother, even though the person is a slave. In other words, the only thing you expect if you have sense and you understand that thing, the other one that was talking rubbish, is that this person becomes a worker but is treated fairly. Thank you, Chief G.I. Some of the slaves in the Roman Empire were lawyers. Some of them were doctors, scholars, but they were slaves. For instance, let's say there's a war between Rome, of course, and, I don't know,
Some of the people they would carry there. Some of them
Germany.
will be educated.
They take people as slaves. Some of the people they will carry there, some of them will be educated. When they get to say Rome, they could ask, what were you doing before you were taken? Now, what's your now? If you work for, they could say if you work for so number of years, and they say that a lot. If you work for so number of years, you can get your freedom, which is similar to what we had in Yorubaland as well. We had opportunity for people to have upward mobility. Rome also had it. You can't say they say a slave. The empire will still use those skills. So you are now owned by someone because you were a booty of war, spoils of war. It's bad, but it's the reality. You know, we have phones now. We're just speaking English. Just think what the world was like at the time. It was kill or be killed. Survival of the fittest. You fought a war. This one wins. The other one loses. You take their stuff. You go back home. Oh, I have this, so do you want? I have that, so do you want? It's bad, by the way. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just trying to explain to you that don't judge the past based on your present realities. They didn't have internet. They didn't have Apple phone at the time. This was raw. And it was even as raw as before Rome concept, because it was even a very better. Anyway, the point is, I think what he did by saying that he should treat him as a brother is more than enough. It's more than what you get in any other religion. And please, if you have anything more, come and quote it and tell me. So when you say Paul did not say anything about slavery, what should he have said? Cancel it. What power did he have? It's like me asking you now that what power can you go and stop all the bandits shaking? What can you say? I don't know what else. And by the way, slavery was not an immorality. It wasn't. It was the activity of the day. And if you have machines and you look back and you say, oh, these people did this, it's because you have machines they didn't have. It was what was obtainable. By the way, people that are doing religion, especially all these new intakes, I don't know when they got into their religion. Guys, it's something people doesn't make you look smart though. It makes you look dumb. Like the clown that just muted. If I see you tomorrow, I'll still mute you. I've been bearing with you, like I'll do 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, but now it shall be permanent. It shall be permanent. What I have done for you. These guys forget Paul was a preacher. No, they think it was a lawmaker. It was a parliamentarian telling Caesar, thou Caesar, change the laws of the land, so there shall be no slavery. Rome, that was known for military conquest. Rome they're always fighting. If you fight, you have spoils of war. And sadly, there will be humans. I know what, one of these days, let me advise you, let me advise all of us. I want to study slavery. Try and study slavery in Yorubaland. I remember having a conversation. Someone said, we never had slaves in Yorubaland. I said, really? They said, no, they were not slaves, they were slaves. They lost their freedom. They lost their freedom. And we have different sayings. We have Onoloji and Runi Baba. That shows compassion. We have Ibiojubi, Eruni Baba. That shows equality. But if you mess up, we also know Erukeru Abilalenu.
Do you have a chance of moving up the ladder?
Especially when you don't know your place in society. But do you have a chance of moving up the ladder? Of course you do. Or at least you did. Exactly. And we fought a lot. One of the Ogun used to fight. Ogun was a fantastic warrior. Oromio was a, I don't say badass. It was a huge, it was great. It was a great warrior. When they go to fight, do you really think they go there and say, if I go, no. That's when I watch all these movies where they're always chanting. There's a book on Yoruba warfare. Everyone they will talk about it. If you see the weapons those guys use, That's all those very lojuri, but like talk you by like whatever things you can. Yeah, he will lule.
Swords,
It's not like that though.
machetes, knives. In the Oriki of
They
Odua,
had
we hear Odua
swords,
Awe wearing
machetes,
jagun. Odua
knives.
was a warrior wearing
In
armor.
the Oriki of Odudua, you hear Odua Awe wearing jagun. Odudua was a warrior wearing armor.
Mabeki Odua, ani Odua
Awe wearing. And to
jagun.
Bajom of Ebazimo. Mabeki Odua, and Odua Awe wearing jagun.
Adamo Yokon, armor must be there.
Could we? Oh my wamo. It's not Bibi Lojuri. No my leg. Adamo Yokon, armor must be there.
One day, not
Our fathers fought. They won. They had bootings. Oh, there were people. One day, not today. I don't even think I'll ever say it on social media. There are some of the very powerful people in Yorubaland. I don't think I want to say it here. But one day, you'll be shocked to know that there are people, major people in our history, whose parentage had something to do with slavery. In most cases, their mothers.
I don't know, but I wager
But it's not today's topic. Sir, do you know how the armor looks like? I don't know, but I wager this is what I think. I think it probably is like a coat of mail. That's what I think, by the way. If Funpa is not armor,
just like a piece that you tie it
what's the Funpa?
to your
The Funpa is just like a piece that you tie it to your arm. That's not armor. Armor is what you wore,
armlet. If that's the word. If Funpa is armlet,
like you wore.
armor is
Yeah, like
what you
bracelets
wore,
or armlets, if that's the word. If Funpa is armlet,
not leather.
armor is what you wore, like earring,
Yoruba people
not leather. Earring, not leather.
is in
Yoruba people
You say Awe wearing jagun,
is earring, not leather.
and this is scientifically proven.
We say awe wearing jagun,
I find this in the history of Yoruba.
and this is scientifically proven, by the way. You can find it in some books. You can find this in the history of Yoruba by Jaketoye and Yoruba the New History by Akinwumi Ogundiran. We had Iron Age before Bronze Age, right? When you check out Europe or the West, they had Ice Age, they had Stone Age, they had Bronze Age, they had Iron Age.
We didn't have bronze.
We had Stone Age and we went straight to Iron Age.
We had iron.
We didn't have bronze before iron. That's what I'm trying to say, Ades.
From Stone Age,
You people did not have bronze. We had iron straight from stone. We moved from Stone Age to Iron Age. We didn't have any stopover with bronze like Europe. What's the name of the book on Yoruba warfare? I'm going to have to stand. What's the book called? Mbo. It's inside, but I think I probably wrote something about it here. Let me check.
we didn't stop.
Yoruba people did not. We didn't even.
It's called chainmail armor.
We didn't
That's what I'm
stop
saying.
with
What
bronze.
do I call it? Coat of mail. And some people call it
It's called chainmail armor, and that's what I was saying. What did I call it? Coat of mail, and some people call it coat of mail, chainmail. Yes. So might that be? What if you want to be read now? I'll find it and show you.
Okay.
Ó máa dàbí ìgbà tán bá kó ẹ̀wọ̀n tó ń hun ẹ̀wọ̀n jọ. Okay, if you have ever seen this movie, excuse me,
You know, Wale Edun, his
ṣé
son.
ẹ ti rí Merlin rí?
Wale Edun, our minister.
You know, Wale Edun, his son.
That's what
Wale Edun, our Minister of Finance. His son is in Merlin. That's all that his son used to wear. Something like this. You seen it, Abi? That's a coat of mail. That's a chain mail or coat of mail. What other thing that person asked? I don't want to stand up because of time. It's a book by J.F. Ajayi, Yoruba Warfare in the 19th Century. I think you can get it on Red Oven Books, actually. Yoruba Warfare in the 19th Century by Ajayi and Smith. But the other books, there's another book on Yoruba weapons. You know, coat of me is like scale of fish. What do you think? What you feel me?
of milk is a type of armor
1 second,
from a
please.
mesh of interlinked metal rings.
Coat of mail is a type of armor made from a mesh of interlinked metal. Maybe the way it looks, Abby, but the idea basically, whether it's coat of mail or chain mail is the same thing, or mail coat. So, oh my, Abby, but on loop chains, rings, and then so ọ̀kan lérínwó irúnmọlẹ̀ ẹ̀gbẹ́fẹ̀ lékè ìṣòro gbogbo ìfẹ́ òye ẹ̀jígìrì. Anyway, me, I'm going home. It's almost 9 o'clock. Where's wanted to come up? So let me bring West up. I hope I answer the person's question, shall West, I cannot see you.
So we get that in Yorubaland. I mean, that's what we know from tradition. From tradition, we had.
So we had that in Yorubaland. I mean, that's what we know from tradition. Like from tradition, we had Oduduwa being a warrior and having coat of mail.
Maybe we should do something on.
Maybe we should do something on.
If I talk about the discovery of iron,
On the one day we'll talk. If I talk about the discovery of iron, you will just like how.
it was linked to pottery.
Ojo will talk about it and how the discovery of iron is how it was linked to pottery in Yorubaland.
Math Fisher, let's have it.
It's amazing what our fathers did and our mothers. All right, Math Fisher, let's have you.
Olóòtú ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́. Ẹ kú iṣẹ́ o.
See you.
Yes, sir.
Long time. Thank you
Good
for
to see you.
We finally got it our series.
Abila Tojoy.
You know, I mean it's long time coming. I think you touched on a number of things tonight. Number one, the lack of intellectual curiosity in our midst as believers. And if you counter that against the people that initially embraced Christianity, they had a philosophy, they had an ideology. The Obatala philosophy is very common. You have to be schooled to become a Babalawo. And to become a Babalawo is not something you do in a year or in 5 years. It takes a while. It takes intellectual rigor. Not only reading, not that you are reading it from a book, you have to memorize it. You have to memorize a lot of odus and being able to do an exam to pass orally. So you know that suggests to me people that are intellectual rigorous in their history, which we are now benefiting from as our ancestors, as their descendants. You also see that intellectual curiosity in how we count our numbers. Our numbers are so advanced that we are doing bit mass and we're doing multiplication in accounting, which is not common in many other cultures, including Western civilization. As a result, so to bá gbé ẹ̀sìn míì wá irú àwọn èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, because they are intellectually curious, they are going to challenge it. And that's one of the initial difficulty that thing had, because they are intellectual people. Wọ́n fẹ́ kó yé wọn kó tó gba ẹ̀sìn yẹn. Now, if you take that to the origin of the early church, the people that we call the church fathers, our Saint Augustine, and so on and the like, Saint Augustine did not get converted until his pastor gave him a book about a thinker in his own day. It is that intellectual curiosity that now led him to read the book of Romans, and then he became converted. So the Christian faith that we believed is not devoid of intellectual rigor. So just blowing hot air alone is not sufficient, particularly when you're now engaging with people who are who are who are very cerebral in their approach to things. Oh, kò ní sọ pé wọn pé kò kàn gba Jésù. No, ó fẹ́ bèrè pé why? Why are you a Christian? Why are you doing what you are doing? Oh, kò ní sọ pé bó ṣe gbé fún wa nìyẹn. No, it's not sufficient. So some of us have not really engaged at this intellectual depth, which I think we should, because the founding fathers of the church in North Africa initially, the basis of what we embrace today, Trinity, all of those things, they had to wrestle with it intellectually and wrote it down. Now, because if you read your Bible, you never see the word Trinity there. But they have to think about these things and string them together. So the point you are making, that I need láti intellectualize nǹkan tá à ń ṣe, ó ṣe pàtàkì as believers, so that we can rigorously defend our faith where it matters. Not just quoting a Bible passage, but quote the Bible with reason, with understanding, and being able to expand it. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa, we have denied ourselves that benefit, and I think we need to go back to it. That explains why the likes of Baba Towalati Ikare, the founder of Church of the Lord, Aladura, even though he didn't go to school in the traditional sense, he Yorubalized the Christian faith. That in a time that he was not supposed to Yorubalize it. And then the people that now embraced it at the turn of the...
Sorry. His own Yorubalization of Kini, he was not the one that started indigenizing Christianity.
No, he
wasn't.
wasn't.
Was indigenized. It wasn't. They started doing that late 19th century.
Absolutely.
But he came along early 20th century, and then he made it more culturally.
But I'm listening to you.
What was the word now? Relevant.
Yes.
Made it more culturally relevant. But I'm listening to you. But please try and round up.
Yes, sir. So I listened to the son of I think was it Oshitelu? I don't know. It's not Oshitelu. Yeah. The one in Ogeri.
Yes, that's Oshitelu. That's Oshitelu.
His son, the one that went to the current leader, he made a point, just to emphasize the point about indigenizing our Christianity. But look, the Yoruba people, when they go to the Opa's palace, wọn kì í wọ bàtà, wọn kì í wọ bàtà lọ síwájú ọba. So when they now became Christian, wọ́n bí look, báwo la ṣe máa sin Ọlọ́run Olódùmarè tá máa wọ bàtà lọ sílé ìjọsìn ẹ̀? Pé no, tá a bá lè ṣe fún our kábíyèsí, we cannot do it to the King of Kings. That's why they don't wear shoes, you know. And when some of us, when we see these people, they wọ bàtà, ní pé wọ́n ṣògùn lọ ṣe kí wọ́n bàtà, not understanding that they are just a thing in the Yoruba context of honoring the King of Kings, because our traditional kings, they honor them by not wearing shoes in their palaces. I'll rest my submission for now. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. There are many things there's some things that we do in church today as Christians, Yoruba Christians, we don't even appreciate it. For instance, drumming, this is just an example. Drumming was not allowed in churches by the Europeans. They didn't see any reason for it. But we are happy people. We are happy. We dance, right? To introduce that took a lot of work, right? There's a reason. Bye-bye.
There's a reason
Ransom Kuti. There's a reason he was celebrated the way he was celebrated. Amongst other reasons, one of the reasons was his work in music. By the way, he recorded the very first record, sound like tautology, but I get the point, album in Nigeria, 1921, Isheoluwa. And then he wrote a lot of songs, folk songs, and change the lyrics, make sure that it was, something that Christians would be able to use and understand and all of that. The point is that what they did, people need to also take time to study what they did and to understand the fact that they were trying to assert their cultural identity without losing their faith. And if you ask them, let me tell you something. Majority of the people who subscribed to Christianity in the 20s and 30s did so because it was utilitarian. It met a need. If your wife was pregnant for months beyond the normal 9 months, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, do you think you'll be talking to anybody that telling you that is a lie? I want colonialist. No. It helped them. It provided succor. Maybe we'll talk about it when we get into the other classes, but I think people just sit down on one armchair and just insult everybody. Say, oh, okay, it's not. It's a lie. Christianity did something for them. And when we get to the part where people went overboard, even as Christians, we'll talk about it when the time comes. But thank you very much, Master Ishon, for that. And I think we'll begin to wrap up now. You know what? Let me bring these two people, and that'll be it. I hope, I've not seen them before, but we'll see what happens. Esther and Miss Syria. Your name is interesting. I don't think these people want to come. They just want to send requests, but they're not coming up. Or maybe it's the network. Okay, Kuliba, Bikili.
Tomorrow, we're going to have a session at 4 p.m.
We'll continue this on Friday. Tomorrow, we're going to have a session at 4 p.m. if time West African time. And, we usually do this when people are talking. I forgot. I'm going to put it up regardless. If you'd like to support what we're doing, please use those bank details. We're trying to discuss history, culture, politics, and innovation. Your support will help us do that. Thank you very much. All right, I want to thank everybody who has been part of today's session. Thank you for tapping and typing and liking and sharing. And thank you very much for the gifts as well. I saw some gifts earlier on TikTok. Thank you very much. If you'd like to support us, please use the bank details pinned up here. Your support will be highly appreciated. We have these sessions every weekday, Monday to Friday, 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. We started a new series. It's called Any Metrics. They are okay together. You don't have to lose who you are because, my faith. Meanwhile, you are losing. It's like what happened in the last election where people were say, Judge, take back your country, without really sitting down as a Yoruba person and looking at, not to vote for a Yoruba person, but to look at the issue from a Yoruba perspective. Kilo at this point. Not just take back your country, especially when you know that the person using that thing, Okonlu as a tool, it doesn't really believe in it anyway. So be Yoruba, whatever your faith, whether you're a Christian, a Muslim, a traditional worshipper, an atheist, because there are people who don't believe in anything, and they're as Yoruba as myself. The Yorubaness is not dependent on faith. It's an ethnic identity, not a religion. You don't have to do any religion to be Yoruba. You don't have to belong to any religious order to be Yoruba. You can be an atheist, a Buddhist, a Hare Krishna, whatever, you are Yoruba, period. Religion is your personal business. And if you want to talk about the merits and demerits of the faith, perhaps, and this is also, something to learn about your faith and stop busying yourself with what other people are doing in order to counter them. Meanwhile, if they counter you, you'll be cursing them. I'm talking because of what happened earlier today. You don't know anything about your faith. You just know tidbits about the other person's faith, enough to be able to insult them. When they now ask you questions, don't insult you, just ask you questions about your faith. You cannot even answer. You now start cursing them out again. That doesn't even make you look like a sane person. So let people spend time studying their own faith. And if I know a person of faith, like Remy Guy, who came earlier, just regardless, be Yoruba, stand up for what is right, understand Yoruba philosophy, and be able to speak up for what actually concerns us as a people. It's not about the faith, which is important to you. As a matter of fact, my faith is important to me, but let your identity, your ethnic identity, let it be paramount. That's really what this is about. But we're going to appreciate the works that our fathers have done, whether they are Christians or traditional worshippers or Muslims, whatever religion they profess. Thank you for being part of today's session. Please power tap. We're almost done. But please power tap on TikTok. Listen, showing an activity. We're going to listen to our anthems before we go. We have the Nigerian anthem and the Yoruba anthem. Remy Guy says, proudly Yoruba atheist. And you more.
The first two was the meaning
The first two was the mini Jare. Me bother and the last one. The first two one. But the first two okay. Proudly Yoruba. What it to me? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Here's the Nigerian anthem. I have to bring the other account. The day atheist, I'll ask a question. I won't say anything much on it. How many of you noticed that atheists do not question traditional religion?
Sir, you are right. Like I said, I did a comment earlier. I said I would rather go to a shrine than go to a mosque or a church. Like I said in like a comment earlier, I said I would rather go to a shrine than go to a mosque or a church. So
I had a friend like you. I'd rather do this. I can call my book Christian, everybody. He says, can you call? Travel to Nigeria. Told her to do some things I won't talk about here. Since that day, we're shaking him more. That's to tell you that comment is to like a Jew Christianity and gonna until that thing happened to her, but another day we'll talk about it. Anyway, here's Nigerian anthem. Please take a listen and if I tell you what happened since that day, the day people start scrutinizing and critiquing traditional religion and Islam, the Islam thing just started. Could take 20 years. Islam better could really question Islam is up to 20 years. And you see how people are always very, very they've been questioning Christianity for centuries. But I don't like to do it, not here. But you did the question traditional worship, I will just be watching what people will say. Instead of people to go and learn. Anyway, here's the anthem. Enjoy and be blessed.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. The tribe and tongue made thee ìṣọ̀kan àtòmìnira ni ẹ jẹ́ ká máa lépa tẹ̀síwájú fọ̀pọ̀ ire àtòhun tó dára. Ọmọ òdìdé bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ̀. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ gbogbo adúláwọ̀.
Àwa ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀, ìmọ́lẹ̀ wa ò ní wọ́kùn lágbára Ọlọ́run, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní bàjẹ́, Nàìjíríà náà ò ní bàjẹ́. Ká sì ṣe Fáṣọlá báwo? Kájọlá náà wà sọ. But thank you very much for a fantastic session today. Thank you, Chief D. Good to see everybody. My reality, thank you. Ole Kankamra, thank you. May God bless everyone. May God keep everyone. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ò ní bàjẹ́. Mọ̀kàn tó bá dáwọ́lé àmàyọrí sí rere ni. Ní in tó kù kọ́dún fi parí ànígbọ́lá burú sí ẹnìkankan nù wa. A máa parí ọdún yìí pẹ̀lú ayọ̀, pẹ̀lú àlàáfíà, pẹ̀lú balẹ̀ ọkàn. Ànírí ogun gbàngbàmí ọ̀gànjọ́, àìríṣe, àìrímu, àìríjẹ kò ní jẹ́ tiwa lágbára Ọlọ́run. Ọlọ́run á ràn wá lọ́wọ́ tó pé a máa tún lè ran àwọn èèyàn tó wà ní àyíká wa lọ́wọ́ lágbára Ọlọ́run. Thank you very much for being part of the session. I'll see you again tomorrow. It's 4 p.m. It's a shorter session, so have a beautiful evening. God bless you. Ó dàárọ̀. Ẹ ṣé o.